Hello viewers, Super GT here. This week on Gran Turismo 7 I jumped onto the daily races and found this Willow Springs, the infamous circuit in the desert where you will probably die a very sandy death, as demonstrated here as I go flying into the wall and flip myself over. Brilliant stuff. Now, I pretty much have PTSD from this circuit from doing an incessant amount of laps chasing Lewis Hamilton in the DLC on GT Sport. Back on GT7, I set myself a semi-respectable 111.4 on the way to my first race, and then I thought I would demonstrate again the downfalls and perils of this circuit, which is the many jumps that you can go off. Here I hit an invisible wall. This guy was not impressed, really, was he? But we're going to jump into race number 1. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? It's always a good idea. Now, that 111.4 was good enough for P2 on the grid in this race. Most people going for the BMW M6. It appears to be the go-to car for this race, for this combination. And that is the car I am using as well as the car in front. Now, this is not an easy track to overtake around. Lots of long corners, not many big braking points. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge, trying to get through into the lead of the race. I'm going to try and force an error upon my Spanish opponent in the lead there. So what I can do really is just get as close to him as possible. Perhaps try to get him to go offline. You see they're just kicking up a bit of sand on the exit of that turn. We need a bit more of that, but so far he's holding it all together. A bit more sand being kicked up, but that's fairly normal in some of the turns actually. On the inside, normally just kicking up a bit of sand sometimes. But winding round towards the final corner, this is probably the bane of my entire existence, this corner. Never really been totally sure on how to take this thing. You see here, neither is the guy in the lead. So he gets a bit of a poor run. We're going to get the momentum to go through up into the lead of the race. So now it's a bit of roles reversed. And I know from experience that I can, as long as I just drive a nice, smooth, clean line, there's not much the guy behind can do, unless he is seriously quicker. But on this occasion, I think we were fairly well matched. So coming up into sector number 2, this is the tricky. I mean, I say this is the tricky bit. The whole track is tricky. It's a very difficult circuit, and it's very much a hit and miss track, I think, amongst most drivers, amongst most players. I'm sure you'll agree. You probably really quite like it or hate it. It's one of those. And for me, I used to hate it. I'm not sure. I think it's in my good books now, because you know that Lewis Hamilton experience. I got good around it. I think I have anyway. You do have to put the time into the tracks you hate, and eventually you'll get there. End of lap 2 here. Didn't get a good run through the final corner. You see, guy behind just sticking quite close. So I'm not quite able to shake him at this point, but he's definitely getting closer as we enter turn number 1, lap 3, but not having to go defensive. There's no need to go defensive if you do not have to. And for this very long right-hander, again, he's in the radar on the bottom right. I know he's there, but no need to defend. Just hold your line and take the corner as per usual. Into the middle sector, again, very, very much a single line sort of sector this. Very difficult to throw a move on any of these corners. And even if he wanted to, I'll just defend it, you know. So he's got his work cut out to really try to get past me here. So doing a good job. Through this middle sector, I sense I was closer. I sense I was slightly better than the other guy. And I would tend to always pull away there onto this back straight. You see there the gap opens up. Just need to sort out this final corner. Looking for the 150 board. Just kind of turning in. Braking a little bit after it. Let the car coast in. And then back on the power to get a good run down the main straight. And that's a decent job there. You see the gap. About 0.6 of a second. Setting a 112.0, which is good considering there was a 112.1 in the second lap. A good consistency overall here. A little bit later on, let's take a look here because the guy in second all of a sudden the gap went from 7 tenths to about 1.3. Clearly made a mistake, and that kind of cemented a fairly routine victory, I'd say, for me. As a couple of laps later, coming across the line to win, and with some decent consistency. I mean, taking a look there, 112.1, 0.0, 11.9, 12.1, 12.0. So good consistency, all of the laps there within 2 tenths, apart from the first lap, which is always going to be slower because of the rolling start. So we'll take another win, 2 in a row. Pretty good stuff, loving it. BMW driving very well. Now this one is, so I say 2 wins in a row. That's one win. That's 1 win in a row. Let's go for 2 in a row. I kind of spoilt it now, haven't I? Well, it didn't actually take long. I'll not gloss on this race too long then, because on the exit of the final corner, you see we both just dipped 2 wheels into the sand. Not quite getting pulled into the sand realm, but not too far off. Unfortunately for this guy, he was pulled into the sand realm. The fateful moment happened here. Boom, there it was, dropping down the edge on the exit of turn 1, and he met a very sandy fate. So with him out of the equation, it was kind of, once again, a fairly routine victory. Not much to report here really, other than completing the allotted 6 laps in not quite as a consistent way as the first race, but now I can say we had 2 race wins in a row. Got ahead of myself there. There's no need for that. But what I needed to do now was make some catastrophic error, because this has been going far too well. Now, some of you might notice the massive mistake I've made. It is on the screen. Sophie, yes, the eagle-eyed amongst you might have seen that I am on intermediate tyres for some reason, and I did not leave myself enough time to change it. Now, this track is in the desert. It's normally very warm, but I'm just hoping that that cloud there can drop some rain. But unfortunately for me, there was no precipitation forthcoming, and as we started race number 3, I was stricken on the wrong tyres. Now this kind of happens when, how do I describe it? Sometimes you have to change the tyres in the main menu rather than in the pre-race menu. So I yeeted myself into this shadow realm. That marshal spared his life, and thankfully he did a good job there, waving the yellow flag before I quit that race. So it wasn't going to be 3 in a row, but I could try to beat my 111.309. And I did exactly that by a monumental 0.002. So, I mean, it's faster, but it's frustratingly small amount faster. We're going to try and go a little bit faster than that. We are currently 300ths up into the final turn. Can we bring this lap home? The answer is a resounding no. We can bring it into the wall though. Barrier there, just about to get met. How about this lap? Let's take a look, shall we? On the exit, just grazing the sand. A bit later on, taking a nice line through this turn. This one, I mean, this corner, this left-hander is a crucial corner because it leads out onto the longest straight on the track. Need to get that one right. Into the final turn. Let's see how I get this one. A little bit wide of the apex, but it felt like a good lap. Are we going to beat it? The 111.307? Yes, we are. 233. Solid improvement. Not a huge amount, but it is better. Now, I made sure this time that I was on the hard tyre by changing it in the car settings menu. This time we were not going to be relying on the rain, on the inters. This guy doing my job for me, saying hello viewers, and yeah, hello viewers. Now, this race, okay, race number 4, we've had 2 wins and a DNF so far. Let's see how we go in race number 4. What I must say, guys, is this is where I truly ascended to another plane of existence. Ayrton Senna once spoke of his moments at Monaco where he almost had tunnel vision, and he was lapping scary rate faster than everyone else, and he was almost possessed. Well, this is my Ayrton Senna moment, this very race. Yeah, it might sound like a bit of an exaggeration, but really it's not. They're going to talk about this race for years to come in the motorsport fraternity, let me tell you that. So first lap here, really a case of just trying to break away from the car behind, trying to get away from the slipstream range, and haven't really quite done that just yet, but we are pulling away a small amount, I would say. The car in second is the Mazda RX Vision, which seemed to be a secondary popular choice, I would say, for this race. Through the final corner, a little bit wide. Could have definitely taken that a little bit quicker. Car behind, I'd say, gained a small amount. Crossing the line at the end of lap number 1 in the lead, 1:14.8, which actually is a good first lap time in this race. But we're going to continue here to the end of lap number 2, because as we cross the line, it's going to be a 1:11.6, 6:42 to be precise. Good race pace, that is. Very good race pace, very solid. At the end of lap number 3, it's going to be a 1:11.6, a 1:11.658 to be precise. So pretty consistent, it must be said, between lap 2 and 3 there. How about lap number 4? We're going to cross the line here. It's going to be a 1:11.654. I mean, just look at the consistency there, guys. 3 laps within 0.0 something very small, which I can't be bothered to work out right this very second. But you get the idea. Lap number 5, surely can't be that consistent for that long. It's very difficult to do sort of 2-3 laps within half a tenth of each other. We'll continue here. I'm 1.5 tenths up on the PB. We're heading actually for a 1:11.4 at this rate, which would be a very solid lap, especially for the race. Anything in sort of a mid 1:11, I think, is very solid race pace around this Willow Springs circuit in a Group 3 car. And middle sector there was good, but nothing special. Let's see what the sector time is. I am 3/4 of a tenth down as we head in towards the final corner. There's the very long looping right, and then here is the final corner. Very strange corner, this one. It's really hard to get right. I think I've nailed it there. Done a decent job of it. Let's see what the lap time is as we come up to the line. Going to be a 1:11.6. So that's 4 laps now within 0.002. 0.002. Yes. So that's very, very good. On to the final lap. That is quite freakish consistency. I don't think I've ever done that before in this game. 4 laps within 0.002. Very solid pace. It's not like it's bad pace. It's pretty solid pace. Very consistent as well. And it kind of just shows you this is the reward of putting in so many laps around this track. Not only on GT7 but on GT Sport. That's what built the foundations for this, really, I would say. As I said earlier, the Lewis Hamilton DLC, that's where it all began. And we are slightly up on this lap, heading into the final turn. So the pressure's on here to get this final turn correct. And then we've pretty much done the perfect race, I would say. Through the final turn, we've hit the apex nicely, got on the power at a decent amount on the exit of the turn. Coming up to the line, there we go, the perfect race. 7:13.1, easily the quickest I've ever done it. Let's take a look at the lap time, guys. Let's slow it down. Boom, pause it there. 1:11.6, 5 laps in a row. 5 laps within 0.04 of a second. Absolutely ridiculous. And what a way to get my 50th win in the game. Really quite crazy. But the work wasn't complete there. We are now up against YouTube extraordinaire, the Key 25. So I started the race, and then, long story short, I finished the race in the lead. So get a load of that, mate. Get a load of that. It wasn't quite as fast as a 7:13, it was 7:15 there, but let's move on, because I set myself a challenge here, because at this moment in time, with the 1:11.2, I was 17th in the world, and I felt like I could get into the 110s if I really pushed. So what I did was I loaded my fastest Ghost, as you can see, and I was really willing to push and try to get that lap time down below a 1 minute 11, so into the 1 minute 10s. I knew I could do it, but I'm not much of a time trialer. I don't like to sit here and do time trial, really, if I'm honest. But no pain, no gain. This is like doing reps in the gym, and you can see there my maximum ability. My 1 rep max would have been a 111.0 if I strung together all of my best sectors. So you see here I've done quite a lot of laps. This is my 17th lap on this stint. I still haven't beaten the 111.2. I've done a fair few 111.3s in this practice session here. I know the possibilities there. I mean, the optimum time, if I string together all my best sectors in 1 lap, 111.0. I know I can do it. It's a matter of stringing together a lot of very difficult turns in one go. Through this turn, you see here I've gained on the Ghost, so I set the Ghost to a 0.1 second interval in front of me. So if I'm ahead of the Ghost, then obviously I'm beating my PB. And on the exit here, I was ahead by a scarcely believable 0.19, nearly 2/10 quicker here going to the final corner. All I had to do was get this final corner somewhat correct, and I would surely improve upon the 11.2. Coming through a little bit wide, perhaps. That was a decent line. I have lost a small amount of time, but I am ahead of the Ghost, and it's going to be at a 111.155, so it's a solid improvement. Again, you know, about 3/4 of a tenth. Not huge, but when you're getting towards your optimum pace, it's very difficult to beat it by big amounts. So that 111.1 put me 13th in the world. So a bit of an improvement, but I still knew that I could do better than that. So what I did was I changed my Ghost to 0.2 interval. I felt like 0.1 was maybe a little bit too close. So 0.2 seemed like a better gap for me. And the quest continued to try to secure this lap time that I knew I could get, but it would be very frustrating to get. And this is the pain you have to go through if you want to get faster on this game. You know, people ask me a lot, how do you get quicker? This for me is the best way to get faster. You just have to go through the pain of setting faster and faster laps on the same track. Trust me, you will get quicker when you do this. At this point here, 0.4, 4/10 up on 11.4. So this could be an 11.0, possibly a 10.9 if I get this final corner correct. And, you know, typical me fashion, I don't quite get it right. I'm still going to go quicker. Let's take a look at what the lap time is going to be. A 111.125. I lost a 10th and a half through that final corner, but it was an improvement up to 11th in the world. And the frustration continued here, because here I was nearly 2/10 up on an 11.1, and then I just made this mistake, just getting on the power a bit too early. It's so frustrating. You can imagine the annoyance at this very moment. But we're going to continue here. And here's the thing about time trials. You can see here, look how much time I gained for this final corner. It's really about just pushing and learning where you can gain, especially when you have the Ghost to compare yourself to. We're going to improve to an 11.04. Frustratingly close to a 10.9, which I want. I want that 10.9, but it's not quite happening. It was a good improvement though. But we're going to see if we can improve it here. You see I'm 1/10 up already after 2 corners. 1/10. So all we've got to do is really just continue this to the end. I know, therefore, that I could do a 10.9 because, well, I've just beaten my 11.04 by a 10th in the first sector. So let's see if we can bring it home. I always make the Ghost disappear going into this corner because I felt like it's a distraction. So definitely make sure you have your show and hide Ghost button mapped onto your controller or wheel. 1/10 up, coming into the final corner. It's just a case of not screwing this final turn up. And then we've got ourselves that 10.9, the coveted 10, around Willow Springs in a Group 3 car. Through the final corner, it's a good line. I've committed to it, and I just go wide. So frustrating. The ghost frustratingly gets away from me. It's going to be 10.06. That surely would have been that 10.9 if I just did not make that mistake. I didn't want to play it safe. I wanted to go for it. The next lap, again, an 11.06. Very consistent laps, but they're not quite on the pace. What I would say though is that the delta was improving. By improving all these sector times, I was getting very, very good optimum times. Through the final corner here, this is going to be a good lap, surely. Let's take a look at this one. As we head up to the line, it's going to be 11.013. So close. And very frustrating. Again, I mean, I've said that word 4 billion times. And it got to this point eventually where I got a little bit fed up. Started making mistakes. And yeah, I made this big catastrophic error here. But look at that. The optimum was a 10.7. I knew I could do a 10.7 if I strung together the perfect lap. At this moment in time, I was 7th in the world. And the top 6 were all in the 10s. But here we go then, guys. This is the final lap. This is the one. I'll leave you with this one. As we head through the final corner, it's amazing what doing a restart can do. Sometimes I think it's best to actually restart so you don't have a delta time to look at. And I still have the ghost. I don't have a delta. So let's see if we can finally get that 10.9 and put us in the promised land of Gran Turismo 7 around Willow Springs. Through the very long right-hander of turn 2. It is one long corner, but it almost feels like 2 corners. You have to take it in 2 different stages almost. Through the looping uphill left of turn 3. Definitely closed up on the ghost. And then this corner is crucial to get a good exit here. I'm definitely closer to the ghost than I was at the beginning of the lap. And I take a much better line through there compared to the ghost. So at this point here, we're definitely up. And to be honest, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll just leave you with the rest of the lap. Have a good day, everyone.
That's the wrong number.